Hello everybody and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday morning, February the 24th, and time once again for the mailbag. I hope you guys have had a great week and a great weekend. Mine's been good. Just a few quick announcements. First off, BookTube SFF Awards, those read-alongs are about to begin, so if you're not on the Discord group or the Goodreads group or anything like that, be sure and get yourself there so that you can keep up with what's going on with the awards as we move into the spring and the reading period. Also, Hugo nominations. The nomination period is going to be wrapping up, I believe, on March the 13th. So if you are able to nominate, then by all means, please do so. You can toss a coin to your favorite booktubers when you do in the Fancast category. And finally, another episode, the second episode of Reading the Hugos, is going to be up on the channel tomorrow morning. And this is one where I have a very special guest involved. And we are talking about the book that is generally widely considered to be the worst Hugo-winning novel of all time. And it's a terrific conversation. I think one of the best videos I've done this year or in a couple of years, and I'm very excited about it. So be here tomorrow morning for that. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Otherwise, it's a modest mailbag this week, only about half a dozen, 6 or 7 packages. So we're going to get right into them. And this first one is a very thin white envelope from Macmillan, so I'm going to assume that this is a tiny little Tor.com novella. What do you want to bet? And it is. This is the arc for a novella by Carrie Vaughn. And this is called The Ghosts of Sherwood. It will be out on June the 9th. And it's the first in a new series called The Locksley Chronicles, in which she reinvents the story of Robin Hood by asking, what if Robin had a family and lived through the reign of King John? And let's see, the next book in the series, The Heirs of Locksley, will be out in August. So anyway, The Ghosts of Sherwood, in this version of the story, it's been 20 years since Robin Hood and his band of merry men beat the Sheriff of Nottingham. Robin and his one true love, Marian, are married with 3 children, the impulsive John, the sensible but take no prisoners, Mary, and little Eleanor, who never speaks but always watches. When the Locksley children are kidnapped in Sherwood by one of Robin's old enemies, Robin and Marian are going to need the help of everyone they've ever known, perhaps even the ghosts that are said to reside deep within the forest. But the Locksley children have a few tricks of their own and soon prove that they are indeed the children of the cunning Robin Hood. Okay then. So this will be out, like I said, June the 9th from Tor.com Publishing, Ghosts of Sherwood by Carrie Vaughn. Okay, the next one is a little box from Blackstone Publishing. All right, this is the arc, very thick, dense, heavy arc, for a book called Sons of War. The author is Nicholas Sansbury Smith, excuse me, and I believe he did the Helldivers series. And so this is the first book in a brand new series called, surprisingly enough, Sons of War. And let's see, this one comes out April the 14th. And, let's see, it goes like this. Out of the embers, a lawless new empire will rise. Across the world, the United States recalls troops to combat civil unrest after the biggest economic meltdown in history. Marine Sergeant Ronaldo Salvatore's platoon comes home to a powder keg that could ignite a civil war. Oh, joy. While some see the coming collapse as the end, others see opportunity. Fleeing Naples after rival crime lords decimated his family, Don Antonio Moretti settles in Los Angeles to rebuild his criminal empire. But he is far from alone in his ambitions. The cartel and rival gangs all want the same turf, and they will sacrifice their own soldiers and the blood of innocents to get it. This sounds like something Netflix would eat right up when you think about it. As open warfare erupts across the states, Salvatore fights his way back to L.A., where his son has joined the police in the battle for a city spiraling into anarchy. Family is everything, and the Morettis and Salvatores will do what they must to protect their own, but how far will they go to survive in a new economy where the only currency is violence? Okay, well, I guess you get the impression of what this is all about. But Sons of War will be out from Blackstone Publishing April the 14th. Okay, moving down the stack, I now have a parcel from an outfit calling itself Raw Dog Screaming Press. God, the poor dog. All right. Well, let's, I don't recall Let's see what this is. Oh, okay. Now I do recall. I do recall being in touch with this publisher on Twitter, although I didn't recall the company name. Sorry, guys. But yeah, this is a book. This is a horror novel, in case you couldn't guess by the cover and the title, which is The Fourth Whore. A bit provocative there. The author is Evie Knight. Let's see. She is an American author of horror and dark fantasy stories filled with badass females. And so this is her first novel. And there's no sell sheet, so I'm going to have to do it this way. Kenzie Brooks watched the Scribble Man collect her brother's soul after a hit and run when she was 7. He gave her a present that day, a lucky rabbit's foot. 16 years later, she no longer believes in the Scribble Man. She believes in survival and does what she has to in the slums of Detroit. When thugs kill her mother and beat Kenzie to near death, she accidentally releases Lilith from her prison within the time-worn keychain, and hell hath no fury. Lilith is out for revenge against God, Sariel, Angel of Death, and Kenzie's Scribble Man, and all of mankind for relegating her to nothing more than a demoness for refusing to submit to her husband. She's put together an apocalyptic plan to destroy everyone who has forsaken her. Forget the 4 horsemen, Lilith is assembling the 4 whores. Will Kenzie rise against her to save the world and the Scribble Man, or will she become the 4th whore? Well then, all right, you probably know right away whether or not this is for you, but I think it sounds really nice and grisly. So by Evie Knight. Yes, did I say KV Knight before? Sorry, meant Evie Knight. The 4th Whore. Okay, into perhaps less dark territory, we now have a couple of packages from Tor. This is the arc from Tor for a book called The Sin in the Steel. The author is Ryan Van Loan. I believe this is a debut novel. And it goes like this. Imagine that Sherlock Holmes and Arya Stark had a child, and let the inveterate thief Locke Lamora babysit. That's the only kind of combination that could produce Sambucina, the compellingly chaotic heroine of Ryan Van Loan's debut novel, The Sin in the Steel. This will be out July the 21st. Inspired by his travels abroad and his time spent serving in the U.S. Army Infantry, Van Loan's thrilling, gritty epic fantasy will have you on the edge of your seat. In this series opener, Sambucina, I'm guessing at these pronunciations. Anyway, she and her stalwart companion, Eld, are tasked with unraveling a piratical conspiracy of supernatural proportions. There are gods, monsters, privateers, ghosts, and a political plot revolving around the sugar trade. In short, I guarantee this book is the most fun you'll have reading all year. Okay, then. Ideally suited for longtime fantasy readers as well as genre fiction newcomers. July the 21st from Tor Books, The Sin in the Steel by Ryan Van Loan. And next up from Tor, another arc. This is one that was on my anticipated science fiction list for the year, because it sounded like it was a real hoot. It's a quirky, genre-mashing cyberpunk romance perfect for fans of Die Hard and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This is called Automatic Reload. It's by Ferret Steinmetz. This comes out May the 26th. And it goes like this. Matt is the top mercenary working the black market. He's your soldier with military-grade weapons instead of arms, and a haunted past that keeps him awake at night. Sylvia is genetically altered to be the deadliest woman on the planet. Her only weakness is her panic disorder. Together they are unstoppable. Automatic Reload is the genre's most unexpectedly heartfelt romantic comedy with explosions. So you basically have these 2 action heroes, superhero-type characters, both of whom have some mental health issues, and apparently they're going to blow a bunch of shit up. All right. But Automatic Reload will be available from Tor May the 26th. And the final 2 packages this week come in from Random Penguin. Okay, and this one is here at last. This is the arc for Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett, the sequel to Foundry Side, and this will be out on April the 21st, I believe. Yes. In any event, probably most people have read Foundry Side by now. If you haven't, I'll link my review in the end screen for this video. But very much looking forward to this, and I think this one is just going to hop right to the top of the review queue. And finally, today, another arc from Del Rey Books. This is for Queen of the Unwanted. It's by Jenna Glass. It is the sequel to her fantasy novel, big feminist epic fantasy from last year, called The Women's War. I have since found out that this is not a debut author. Jenna Glass is the pseudonym for Jenna Black, who spent many, many years writing paranormal romance, and is now doing this sort of thing. I've only seen one review on BookTube of the Women's War. It is still on my queue, and I, do want to read it, as well as this one. That was not a very favorable review at all, I'm afraid. But, so at least, I kind of have an idea of what some of the general reaction to this is about. But this is the riveting sequel, it says, to the feminist fantasy epic The Women's War. And the ability to do magic has given women control over their own bodies. But as the patriarchy starts to fall, they must now learn to rule as women and not men. So it's following on, I guess, from the events in the first book, obviously. And this one will be out on May the 12th. Don't know if this is a duology or a trilogy or what. But May the 12th for Queen of the Unwanted by Jenna Glass. And there you have it. A modest week, but chock full of, some pretty big books, if I do say so. You guys know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you would like to see me prioritize for review. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, hit the like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe. If you have not done so, that is how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon. Got a new Patreon this week. Welcome to that individual. Thank you so much. I want to thank all those people for their additional support. It is greatly appreciated and very helpful. I want to thank all the rest of you guys for being the very most excellent of all time viewers in all of BookTube. Did I butter you up enough? Good. And until I see all of you next time, happy reading.